Siblings of psychopaths. What made you realize that your sibling wasn't normal? When I was 12, my twin brother started a game he called Truth or Consequences. He'd ask kids at school to play, promising prizes if they won, but there were never any prizes. I discovered his game when Amy Martinez came to school with a broken wrist. That night, I found his journal under loose floorboards, detailed plans for each accident that couldn't be traced back to him. I started following him after school, stopping his games, but then he changed targets. Instead of random kids, he focused on our little sister Arden. The accidents started small, missing homework, ruined clothes, broken toys. But when Arden's pet hamster disappeared, I knew it was escalating. I confronted him, threatened to tell our parents. He just smiled and said, "Prove it." That night, I woke up to smoke. Arden's room was on fire. I got her out just in time, but my brother was already downstairs, crying to our parents about how he saw me playing with matches. They sent me to a juvenile facility for 6 months. He visited regularly, bringing Arden. He'd sit there smiling while she told me how much safer she felt with me gone. I got out last week. Arden won't look at me anymore, but I notice the fresh bruises she tries to hide, and I see my brother watching me, waiting to see what I'll do next. Sometimes I wonder if the only way to win is to play by his rules.
What's the saddest I'm waiting for someone you have experienced? I work night security at a 24-hour diner. Last Tuesday around 2 a.m., this elderly woman in a full wedding dress walked through our doors like it was normal. She had this vintage 1980s dress, all yellowed lace and puffy sleeves that clearly hadn't been worn in decades, with a small bouquet of gas station roses clutched in her trembling hands. Her makeup was done perfectly with coral lipstick and blue eyeshadow, but her silver hair looked like she'd styled it herself in the dark. She walked straight to booth 7 by the window and ordered 2 black coffees. When I brought them over, she said, "He likes his extra hot, so keep the pot warm. Harold gets cold so easily these days." I figured it was some eccentric rich widow meeting a late-night gentleman caller. You see weird stuff working graveyard shifts. Every 10 minutes exactly, she'd check her flip phone, this ancient silver thing with a cracked screen. Then she'd reapply her coral lipstick using the phone's black screen as a mirror and carefully rearrange those wilted gas station flowers. Around 3 a.m., she flagged me down. "Excuse me, honey, could you help me move to booth 12? The lighting's better there, and Harold will want to see how beautiful I look in this dress." That's when I really looked at the dress up close. It wasn't vintage by choice. This thing had been hanging in a closet for literally decades. The fabric was stiff and brittle, and it smelled faintly of mothballs and old perfume. She moved to booth 12 and immediately got emotional. "This is where he proposed," she whispered, touching the table. "Right here on this exact spot, October 15th, 1987. I wore my pink sweater, and he was so nervous he spilled coffee all over his blue tie with tiny anchors. By 4 a.m., she'd ordered a slice of apple pie for when Harold gets here. He always orders dessert, and started telling me their entire love story. How they met at the Methodist Church pancake breakfast, how he worked double shifts at the factory to afford her ring, how they'd been planning to renew their vows tonight, their 35th anniversary. He said to meet him here at 2 a.m. sharp, she explained, checking her phone again. Just like our very first date when we were young and broke. He's probably stuck at work again. Harold's always been such a dedicated worker. 43 years at that factory, never missed a single day. The way she talked about him, present tense, like he'd walk through that door any second. At 5 a.m., I couldn't take it anymore. I asked gently if maybe I should call someone to pick her up. That's when she showed me her phone screen. Dozens of text messages sent to my Harold over the past 3 hours. "I'm here waiting at our special booth just like we planned. Did you forget our anniversary? Booth 12, 2 a.m. sharp. The pie here is still terrible, but I got you a slice anyway. Harold, please text me back. I'm getting worried. I'm scared you changed your mind about renewing our vows. The dress still fits perfectly. You always said I looked like an angel." My heart completely sank. I googled her last name from the credit card receipt, found Harold's obituary immediately. Harold Morrison, 67, beloved husband and factory worker, passed peacefully in 2019 after battling cancer, survived by his wife Margaret of 35 years and 3 children. This woman, Margaret, wasn't waiting for her husband to show up for their anniversary vow renewal. She was waiting for her mind to remember that he'd been dead for 4 years. I sat with her until 6 a.m. when a frantic woman in scrubs burst through the door. "Mom, oh my God, we've been looking everywhere." Turns out this was the 4th time this month Margaret had gotten dressed up in her wedding gown and snuck out to meet Harold. Her daughter had quit her nursing job to take care of her full-time, but Alzheimer's disease moves faster than love. Margaret looked confused as her daughter helped her stand. "But Harold's coming," she protested, clutching her flowers. "We're renewing our vows tonight. I have to look perfect for him." Her daughter just hugged her tight and whispered, "I know, Mom, I know." As they walked out, Margaret turned back to me one last time. "If Harold shows up while I'm gone, tell him I waited. Tell him I looked beautiful. Tell him the dress still fits." I promised her I would. The 2 coffee cups are still in booth 12. I can't clear them.
I spent my savings to put my boyfriend through medical school, and at his graduation party, he dumped me saying, "I need a wife who isn't a waitress." But this morning, the medical board called him about his application. For 6 years, I worked double shifts at the steakhouse, putting every dollar into what I called the Dr. Alex Fund. Tuition, textbooks, rent. I even sold my grandmother's gold necklace for his laptop. That necklace was the only thing I had left of her. But Alex needed a computer for his classes, and I couldn't bear to see him struggle. I remember the exact moment I knew I was losing him. We were at dinner with his med school friends, all trust fund babies whose parents were surgeons and specialists. When someone asked what I did, Alex jumped in before I could speak. "Clara's in hospitality management," he said with this fake smile. "She's great with people." I felt my face burn red. Hospitality management? I was a waitress, and I was proud of my work. I was good at it, made decent money, and my regulars loved me. But suddenly, Alex was ashamed of me. The comments started getting worse. He'd criticize my clothes, saying I needed to dress more professionally when we went out. He told me my best friend Sarah was holding me back because she was also in food service. Sarah, who had driven me to the emergency room when I sliced my hand at work because Alex was too busy studying to leave his books. But I ignored all the red flags because I loved him. I believed in us. I believed in our future. The breaking point came 8 months ago. I was cleaning his office when I saw his laptop was open to his email. The subject line read, "Final exam materials confirmed." My hands shook as I clicked it. It was an email chain between Alex and 5 of his classmates. classmates, including that rich girl Tiffany, who always looked at me like I was dirt on her shoe. They had bought stolen final exams from a resident at the hospital. Not just one exam, multiple tests across different classes. They were splitting the cost, wiring money to this resident's account. I felt sick. All those nights, I stayed up quizzing him on anatomy and pharmacology. All the pride I felt when he'd ace a test. It was all a lie. He wasn't brilliant. He was just another cheater with daddy's money. But it got worse. A few weeks later, I found a USB drive hidden in a shoebox in his closet. I don't know what made me look, but something felt off. I plugged it into my laptop and my heart sank. It was full of medical research papers from journals all over the world. And there was Alex's groundbreaking senior thesis, the one his professors called exceptional. I compared his paper to the downloaded articles. Entire paragraphs were copy-pasted. He'd changed a few words here and there, moved some sentences around, but it was blatant plagiarism. This wasn't just cheating on tests. This was academic fraud that could ruin careers. I screenshot everything. The emails, the payment records, the plagiarized thesis. I saved it all to my phone and backed it up to the cloud. But I never confronted him. I loved him too much. I kept thinking maybe he'd confess, maybe he'd change. I was such an idiot. Last night was his graduation party. I'd spent weeks planning it, booked the private room at the nicest restaurant in town, invited all his family and classmates. I even bought a new dress with tip money I'd been saving for months. Everything was going well until the toast started. His dad gave a beautiful speech about how proud he was. His mom cried happy tears. Then Alex stood up, champagne glass in hand, and looked right at me. I want to thank everyone who supported me through this journey, he said, but I also want to be honest about my future. Medical school has opened my eyes to what I really want in life. I need a partner who can match my education level, someone who moves in the same circles I'll be moving in. Clara, you've been wonderful, but I'm a doctor now. I need a wife who's more than just a waitress. The room went dead silent. I could feel everyone staring at me, waiting for me to break down, to scream, to throw my drink in his face. His new girlfriend, some med student named Brittany, who'd been giving me smug looks all night, actually smirked, but I didn't break. I stood up, raised my glass with the steadiest hand I've ever had, and said, to Alex's bright future, may he get exactly what he deserves. I downed my champagne, grabbed my purse, and walked out with my head held high. This morning at exactly 7 a.m., my phone started ringing. Alex's mom, crying and frantic, then his dad, then his sister, all asking if I knew anything about a situation with the medical board. Apparently, someone had sent them detailed evidence of academic fraud and cheating. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing since. 17 missed calls from Alex, text messages begging me to call him back. They're all convinced I'm the whistleblower. And you know what? I'm not telling them otherwise. The truth is, I did send that package to the medical board. Right after I got home last night, I uploaded every screenshot, every email, every piece of evidence I'd been sitting on for months. Sometimes karma needs a little push.